Hi, my name is Kayla Seibert. I have gone to Bethel my whole life, and I'm going to be reading you Ephesians 2:11 through 22. Therefore, remember that you, once Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by what is called the circumcision, made in the flesh by hands, that at that time you were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. But now in Christ Jesus, you who once were far off have been brought near by the blood of Christ. For he himself is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, that is, the law of commandments contained in ordinances, so as to create himself one new man from the two, thus making peace, and that he might reconcile them both to God in one body through the cross, thereby putting to death the enmity. And he came and preached peace to you who were afar off, and to those who were near. For through him we both have access by one Spirit to the Father. Now, therefore, you are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God, having been built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom the whole building, being fitted together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord, in whom you also are being built together for a dwelling place of God in the Spirit. I think the biggest thing to take from this, if I could, summarize it in my funny brain, is that when you have faith in Christ, he brings peace no matter what you're going through. I know personally, I have a personality that's not content with just sitting back and letting things happen. I'm more the type that, I can do it myself and I can get it done. That's not always the case. You can't always just make things happen. You can't just be happy. You can't just have peace. You have to look for God to have that peace. When I was in college, I, hadn't really had a boyfriend, and I was kind of forcing the issue. I was putting myself in situations where I wasn't necessarily comfortable, but I was like, I gotta get a boyfriend. I gotta follow the path, gotta go to college, gotta get married, and all that. And I was pushing it. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna sit back, let God do his thing. Within a month, my parents dragged me to a candlelight service, and there's where I ran into my former classmate, who is now my husband. But I just kind of said, okay, God, do what you do, and was happy and content with that. I was at peace with telling myself to let go of the reins, and let God do what he wanted to do. He had a plan. I just needed to stop being pushy about it. And the more I read this verse and the more I thought about it, a song came to mind, and I don't think we can play it, but I can advise so that you can watch it on your own. It's by an old Christian group called Selah, and it's Be Still My Soul. And to have peace, you really just have to sit and be content and let God do whatever he's going to do. I just think that song it speaks to being peaceful and letting God do what he needs to. And that whole album, my mom, she's probably already crying watching this, but that whole album, my pap played on repeat when he was battling cancer, because the old hymns were sang in a beautiful way, and he was at peace. He knew where he was going. He didn't have to question it. So, yeah, it's a good verse, and there's a lot to grab hold of.